discover the fascinating history of Juan Ponce de Leon and the legendary Fountain of Youth in this captivating video. We delve into the myths and truths surrounding Ponce de Leon's quest for eternal life, exploring his expeditions in the Caribbean and Florida during the early 16th century. Was he really searching for a magical spring, or were there other motives behind his journeys? Join us as we unravel the mysteries of this iconic figure and the impact of his adventures on exploration and mythology. From historical accounts to modern interpretations, this video will provide a comprehensive look at the life of Juan Ponce de Leon and the enduring allure of the Fountain of Youth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing historical content. Born in 1460 to a noble family in León, Spain, Juan Ponce de León began his career as a page in the court of Aragon. He eventually became a soldier, participating in the Spanish campaign against the Moors in Granada. Once that conflict concluded, he accompanied Christopher Columbus on his second expedition to the West Indies in 1493. Around 10 years later, Ponce de Leon was a captain under Nicolas de Ovando, the Spanish royal governor of Hispaniola, now Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Following his successful quelling of a Native American uprising, Ovando appointed him as the governor of the island's eastern province. In the early 1500s, Ponce de Leon established settlements on Hispaniola, where he initiated farms and built fortifications to lay the foundation for a Spanish colony on the island. His efforts proved successful, and he thrived by selling crops and livestock to Spanish ships on their way back to Europe. Around this time, he also traveled back to Spain, where he married a woman named Leonora, with whom he eventually had 3 children. With rumors of gold in nearby Puerto Rico, Ponce de Leon was officially tasked by the Spanish crown in 1508 to explore the island. Some sources suggest that he may have explored the area unofficially 2 years prior, leading an expedition of 50 soldiers and 1 ship. He settled near present-day San Juan. After a year, he returned to Hispaniola, having discovered substantial amounts of gold and opportunities for wealth. His mission was considered a success, and he was appointed governor of Puerto Rico. Buoyed by his financial success, the Spanish crown ordered him to continue the settlement of Puerto Rico and increase gold mining activities. He returned to the island, this time accompanied by his wife and children. Similar to his approach in Hispaniola, Ponce de Leon built a thriving settlement by relying on a large number of enslaved people for labor. Although some accounts suggest he treated the indigenous population with relative fairness, the overall consequences of slavery, along with the introduction of European diseases like smallpox and measles, had devastating effects on the native Taino people. Despite his achievements, Ponce de Leon lost his governorship of Puerto Rico in 1509 due to political conflict between Christopher Columbus and the Spanish crown. Despite the Spanish crown giving some concessions to Ponce de Leon's competitors, King Ferdinand wanted to reward him for his loyalty. In 1512, the king urged him to continue exploring new lands with the hope of uncovering more gold and further expanding the Spanish Empire. Around this time, Ponce de Leon learned about a Caribbean island called Bimini, which was rumored to have miraculous waters, believed to be a fountain of youth. This myth was well known on both sides of the Atlantic, with some claiming the spring was located in the Garden of Eden, which many thought was in Asia. Although the search for the Fountain of Youth is often cited as a driving factor behind his expedition, Ponce de Leon managed to negotiate a highly profitable deal with the crown to launch it. He secured exclusive rights to any lands he discovered and would be named governor for life of those territories. Notably, the Crown's official orders made no reference to a fountain of youth, and recent research suggests that this quest was only linked to him posthumously. In March of 1513, Ponce de Leon personally financed an expedition, assembled 3 ships, and more than 200 men to sail from Puerto Rico to Bimini. Within a month, they arrived on the east coast of what is now Florida. Unaware that he had reached the mainland of North America, he believed that he landed on another island. He named the region Florida, inspired by its abundant flowers and the fact that he arrived during Easter, which the Spaniards called Pascua Florida, or Feast of Flowers. While often credited with discovering Florida, Ponce de Leon merely landed in a place that had been inhabited by indigenous people for a very long time. Furthermore, he was not the first European to explore the area. Spanish expeditions had previously raided the Bahamas frequently, and there is evidence that some had ventured as far as the Florida coast. Upon his return to Puerto Rico later that year, Ponce de Leon found the island in turmoil. A nearby Caribbean tribe had burned the settlement, killed several Spaniards, and his house was destroyed. His family had narrowly survived the attack. In 1514, Ponce de Leon went back to Spain, reported his findings, and was appointed military governor of Bimini and Florida. He was also given authorization to establish colonies in those areas. The Spanish crown tasked him with organizing a small army to suppress an ongoing native uprising in Puerto Rico. He left Spain in May of 1515 with a small fleet. Historical accounts of his confrontations with the natives of Puerto Rico are unclear, but there were apparently a series of military clashes with no definitive outcome. Ponce de Leon eventually ceased hostilities after learning that King Ferdinand, his major ally, had passed away. He quickly returned to Spain to secure his titles and claims. He remained in Spain for 2 years until he was assured that his financial interests were safe. Then he went back to Puerto Rico. In February of 1521, Ponce de Leon embarked on a second journey to explore Florida. Records from this expedition are limited, but some describe the trip as poorly planned. The crew landed on the western coast of Florida, where they were soon attacked by Calusa warriors. Ponce de Leon was injured, possibly by a poison-tipped arrow to the thigh. The expedition retreated to Cuba, where he died in July of 1521. Ponce de Leon was a man shaped by the era he lived in, driven, diligent, and willing to be ruthless when necessary. He established a modest financial empire that played a key role in advancing Spain's colonization efforts in the Caribbean. His ambitions might have reached even greater heights had he managed to steer clear of political conflict with the Columbus family. Numerous historical accounts suggest that he treated the native people under his rule with more fairness than many other conquistadors. However, the brutal impact of enslavement and disease devastated these communities, leading to several violent rebellions during his time as governor. Despite no concrete evidence that he actively sought the Fountain of Youth, Ponce de Leon will always be linked to the legend. Although he mentions the myth in his writings, it is widely believed that he was too pragmatic to chase such a fantasy while focused on expanding his wealth.